Hello, and welcome to another Zelda Singularity Let's Play. This is Northstar. So, this is a simple enough game, and I'm simply enough doing some daily, not really daily, these are every 6 hour missions, you may call them, and talking stuff. I'm in a bad mood because week's about to begin, and I have to try and deal with vile systems in terms of um, impressing those who are disabled. I have long COVID, as I'm sure some of you know, and we have a system where Social Security Administration will hit people who are trying to apply for disability programs, whether SSDI or SSI, with a ton of paperwork they have to do, but then they won't be accessible if you try and reach them by phone. You'll call, and it'll be like less than 2 hours they close. It'll be a 2 hour wait time. It'll be like 4 hours, and you'll be on hold for 2.5 hours, and then they'll hang up on you without picking up. Like literally, the draw will just drop, or someone will pick up the phone, put it down, and you call again. It's another more than 2 hours, and they're gonna close at that point. They play games to avoid talking to people because they're massively understaffed, and I don't know, the people there have just given up. It's not that the bureaucrats are bad. It's that those with power have intentionally deprived the system of the funding it needs so that they're not overworked to the point where they just give up and look for every excuse to avoid work because they're already massively overworked. To avoid more work, that is. And then all sorts of bullshit. They have a whole network. I've heard horror stories about it of people, their own doctors, they try and get people to go to, which they can't force you to do without getting consent, but they'll try, no matter how much medical information you have proving disability, to make you see their own doctors who are people who they've used over and over, who they've developed a relationship with, to go around and claim, no matter how sick someone is, that they're not really disabled. And so the smart thing is always to refuse consent for that, and to just see specialists in your actual illness who aren't beholden to this system. And bombard them with as much medical information as they need to prove beyond a doubt that you really are sick. And like, because I've heard so many horror stories, their people will find any excuse. Like, oh, you say you have low energy, but you managed to make it here today. Doesn't matter if, slept 16 hours the night before and drank 4 espressos to have the energy to make it to their office. They'll claim that's proof I don't really have low energy, kind of thing. That's just a theoretical example, but to give it the kind of thing that they're known for doing. So, and personally, I have to try and file some damn forms. I can't get a hold of the Social Security Administration, so I can't hold SSDI people, where they're missing half my work history. Half of it. Then saying I don't have enough work history for disability because they're missing half the work history, and if they're missing about half, it's literally impossible to meet the work requirements because you have to have worked basically over half the time since you turned 21. So if they just don't add half of your work history, then no matter what, you're not going to meet the requirements unless you were working multiple jobs for much of your life. I actually was working multiple jobs for part of it, but then I was also, and actually you just hit the work credit cap for a year, so that didn't actually help me. But then there were periods I was in school and stuff. But if they had all the work history, I would still, by a comfortable margin, meet the requirements. But how am I supposed to correct it when I can't speak to them? When they have a damn appeals form that doesn't have anywhere, as far as I can tell, for correcting incorrect work history, and the form for that, for correcting incorrect work history, I say you can't do it if it's been more than 4 years since that job. It's like most young people who become disabled are, like around 30, aren't looking back at jobs they worked when they're 23 to see if the Social Security Administration actually has the work history added to their file. It's ridiculous. So I have to deal with this shit, and I'm suffering from insomnia right now, so I'm not going to be able to just do some videos. This a pop-up dungeon video. Do whatever I can muster energy for, despite being extremely tired and sleep deprived. And as the week, as soon as I can find time where I'm awake to have and can muster energy, just call and be put on hold and not reach anyone. File these damn appeal forms, just go through the motions, and eventually I'm gonna have to get my congressman involved, call them and complain about how the administration is not picking up the phone, stonewalling me, not allowing me to fix their missing work history, make excuses, probably have to threaten to sue, and maybe get a disability lawyer because. And there's also appeals process that almost like more than half the people apply for disability have to go through the appeals process with like a stand before a judge, which is ridiculous. The whole system is vile. This is especially hard for someone with long COVID because I have very little energy, memory issues, weakness. I don't need to be dragged through this process. I just don't have the energy for it. The more physically demanding or mentally demanding something is, the harder it is because you get post-exertion malaise even from just doing things they're not physically demanding but mentally. And these paperwork and stuff, it's designed to be as complicated and hard to understand and often contradictory the way policies are written as possible. So I swear that there must be like beyond the politicians serving the rich, there must be like the disability lawyers are trying to make sure that the laws stay as complicated as possible so people will hire them, because the disability lawyers will often agree to take your case for free up front and then take like a portion of the disability, so you'll fight this long process, and by the time it's over, what, they're like take 70% of the disability check for like 2 years that you fought through the process. So they steal all the money that someone who becomes disabled desperately needed. And if they're colluding to keep the process complicated, so people have to use them, complicated and broken, it's probably like the tax prep software companies that lobby the U.S. government to make the tax code complicated, so people will go to them like H&R Block and stuff. I mean, there have been whole reports in that, the way that they lobby. Although I prefer, there's serious news things, but I actually prefer Adam Ruins Everything thing on that because it's funny and it makes the whole story less stressful to hear about. There's serious reporting too, but I suggest looking that up if you want something that won't make you want to pull your hair out. He adds a touch of humor, kind of like how John Oliver does when he talks about big, important, problematic issues in our society. So, anyways, this has been a short video, just a little talking and just doing the philosophy exploration a little. It's not long before it ends, and I need enough ranking that I don't fall below 250 if I want to get some mutagen for the Mesozoic Valley out of it. So, is what it is. Just grab those, even though the ranks don't actually do anything at that point. I think. Cool. Just so when I go to the rank thing, I'll see no numbers for my own ease of understanding. And right to then. Anyways, folks, take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves. May it was fun getting started. Lead you home. Until next time. This is Northstar. Adieu, farewell. Check out my other video series like Pop-Up Dungeon, which I've returned to doing more videos, more of Orion when I find the energy to get I'm going to do some more reviews of that soonish, hopefully. Vampire, Wildermyth, Hearts Iron 4.